I know that everyone thinks that I did this on my own and I fought and everything, but honestly, with hand on my heart, I couldn't have done it without the support, without the prayers, blessings, just spreading this message as well. I'm using music and my story to spread a message of hope, a message of love and unity.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
Welcome back to Carter in the Car. My special guest today is May Alqasim, musician, personality, human being extraordinaire, as you're going to find out this morning.
Wow, Jason, you picked me up right there. Pressure's on.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Oh, bless you, Jason. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see you again and catch up with you.
So you've known Lydia, my wife, for how long?
Wow, my childhood. Lydia was my first music teacher.
Okay.
Well, first music teacher I actually fell in love with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a difference.
There is a big difference. She got me to experiment with music and develop my skills. She gave me that artistic freedom. She was the only one who did that, actually.
Amazing.
I think I've known her since I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Amazing.
Yeah, then she became my boss and then my life mentor.
Amazing. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool because she's actually inspired me to become who I wanted in my life and for other younger generations now.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Lydia. Big shout out.
When did you know that? When I was 11 years old, I knew that I wanted to be a guitarist. What age do you remember knowing that you wanted to be a singer, musician?
Oh, you'd have to really ask my mom because I found videos of me singing before I could talk.
Wow.
So honestly, I actually have footage of this because I wouldn't believe my mom, but French nursery rhymes because she'd sing me to sleep in French. She's Tunisian, so.
Okay.
But when I knew, it was probably actually around the same time that I started really taking music seriously in class with Lydia. And I really got into melodies, and I found myself playing piano, just knowing that I wanted to get my hands on some keys. I remember being 8 when I wrote my first song.
Amazing.
That's when it started really becoming an everyday bread and butter sort of, not bread and butter because I wasn't getting paid at the time, but I mean.
So you sort of always knew, really? It was always
it was always like more of a sense. Music became in a sense to me.
I think as musicians we're lucky because music is such a powerful thing.
Oh yeah.
And for people like musicians who, because it is a choice to even though you've got a musical gift, it is a choice to become a professional musician in a way. Yeah. But you can't, the gift you have, you cannot choose that, it's in you.
Yes.
And I think that, when I ask people about what they do with their lives and what their professions are, I'm so lucky to remember that I knew I wanted to be a musician when I was 11. And I think, we're lucky to have that. And, the road is not easy.
No.
So can you tell me, what was the first thing you ever did professionally? As a musician.
Yeah. Well, I was part of Outlaw Productions at the age of around 14 to 15. I would say getting into the studio for the first time, recording my first song. So I would say 16 was when I got into the studio and I released my first song under an independent album.
Yep.
So yeah, around 15, 16 I would say was my first professional move, getting into the studio. And shortly after performing, I remember it was in the yacht club. Actually, my first performance, professionally, paid and everything.
Yeah, because by going to small places, not a lot of, not a huge scope for, I don't know, professional development.
Correct.
And so, can I ask you, what is the most memorable highlight of your musical career to date?
Ooh, it would be a private launch party, a VIP private launch party for an e-music distribution company, which unfortunately didn't work out in the end. Called Your Files back in 2000. I want to say 2009, something like that. Anyway, that was that had people come over like Jennifer Hudson, LA Reid was there, Rock Nation, Jay-Z's label, Rock Nation was there. I ended up being part of the main show instead of just being an opening act, and I met LA Reid and Rock Nation, and I met a lot of inspiring musicians during the course of that period of time. because I learned so much about the industry
yeah.
and about the contracts behind the industry, because I was approached by Rock Nation. To be honest, I declined the contract. That was memorable because actually it opened my eyes to what I could have and what I actually want.
Okay.
It was that moment for me.
That's
not because I met those people, but because they showed me what I didn't necessarily need or want from the music industry. So it eliminated that factor of of fame, and it provoked fear because of the way that they spoke to me, saying, look at me, oh yeah, your nose needs fixing, your teeth need fixing, and I was like, what does that have to do with my talent?
Oh no.
So that was a defining moment for me. When I start this story, you'd think I was saying because I met this, and yes, it was great meeting them. Don't get me wrong, but for a different reason, not because, oh wow, I met this person or that person. Because to me, they're musicians and they're humans. They just so happen to make it.
That's right.
Not by luck. I'm sure they've worked for it and they deserve it, of course. But to see that and to see the shark tank up close, and see what the jaws actually look like, I ran. To be honest, because that was my identity on the line, and I'm like, no, I don't care if it's one person or 1,000 people, as long as I stay true to me.
Exactly.
So that was that moment for me.
So, what is music to you? I mean, can you describe what it means to you? I mean, what is it?
I would say music is transcendental. It's a movement of not just people, it's a movement of energy. So that's why it's so international and so universal, because we're not dealing with words and we're not dealing with emotions, we're dealing on a higher level. Music is a higher philosophy. It's not even known to mankind, because if you look around you, the sound of the birds and the trees, it's all happening in one movement, in one go, with time being a sort of like a medium or a force driving us to change. It's music is an element. It's part of every little molecule, because in essence it's a vibration, and it's all about uniting and bringing together. If you feel there's a oneness about music, even in the sound, you can feel, although so many things are going on in this track or in the song, so many feelings, so many sounds, so many expressions. That's the way the world works. So if you think about it, music is sort of a microcosm of society in all senses, from the physical and non-tangible in that sense. It's just, music is unity. Music is subconscious, a collective subconsciousness. It's so much more. Right now I'm trying to find words to it, and it's really hard. I'm coming up with all sorts of analogies.
It is. But it's interesting to hear, as a singer, that you state that the words aren't the most important thing, because it is about the atmosphere, isn't it?
Correct. I agree. I mean, they complement each other.
Of course.
But you can still send a strong message without needing to say so many words.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
It's true.
Amazing. So, I guess, like all of us musicians, COVID has been a very difficult time.
Oh dear.
You know, so what plans did you have before COVID, and have you been able to execute any of those ideas since?
Oh, absolutely. I've taken COVID as a time to reevaluate, rescope, reconnect, and write. And at the same time, I had plans. I was thinking to myself, now I was at the peak of my musical career in, let's say, my early to mid 20s. And suddenly COVID happened. I got ill. Things got in the way, and I was thinking to myself, I've kind of done the maximum I could possibly do, from the performances to the studio to the media to etc. And I'm watching the younger generation rise, and I sort of stepped out of on the scene, but now I want to be behind the scene. So what I was thinking is, I should get to know the younger generation, although our generation and the one before us are criticizing the younger generation. So I was kind of getting a little fed up of this disconnection, and I decided I want to be that middle person that would be that bridge between the older and the younger, because I've hung out with many of the older generations, and I've worked with many musicians, and I felt that I was excluding the younger generation a little bit, which is not fair, because I got that chance at that age. Although things were so different, I don't think it's impossible. So now I've been taking a younger musician with an older musician, cross cultures, cross genres, forming their little bands, developing them from the vocal sense all the way up to performing, media kits, anything they need basically, sort of like the producer of a show or an organized, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've been doing that, and I've been doing several projects on the side, which is coming soon. So collaborative productions, all of those things, which is in the pipeline. So all those things I was thinking about, and to spread a bigger message that's way beyond what is in front of us.
Sure.
The bigger picture of everything. So doing that now,
I love the fact that because the story you shared about the record companies and the way they asked you to change your image and things like that. A lot of young people would actually do that. They wouldn't have the wisdom to avoid that and face it in the same way as you did. So I think it's really great that you are taking some people under your wing, and because Bahrain doesn't have a structure for structure, who does? But what I mean is, the UK has a music business.
Yes.
And so there's all kinds of stories and people you can contact, and there's structures, there's vague structures in place for you to work in.
Of course.
But here there's not really, so it takes people who've got experience to help younger people, especially
absolutely.
Here,
Absolutely.
So May, you've been through a very challenging time in the last, I think it's been going on for quite a large part of your life.
Yes.
But the last few months have been particularly challenging, and you've come through it with flying colours. And so, can you share with our audience a little bit about that story, or as much of that story as you'd like to?
Woo, okay. For the most part of my life, I've always had a very low immunity. Something was always kind of off with me. I was constantly ill. Lydia would tell you how many absences I used to have. I was always misunderstood. So, I was accused of skiving and missing class, etc., which I'm guilty of a lot of the time.
Okay.
But a lot of the time I genuinely didn't have energy.
Yeah.
Until the years progressed and I was getting just iller and sicker and weaker, but I wasn't showing it.
Sure.
I was suffering in silence, basically.
Okay.
I tried to find out what it was, and unfortunately I continued being misdiagnosed.
Yeah.
My liver readings were off the chart, and you can imagine in this kind of society, with all due respect, I love my culture and I love my country, but they would not understand if there were question marks behind a liver situation. They would assume all sorts of things, if you can imagine.
Yes.
That I would self-abuse, or too many pills, or things like alcohol, which I don't. It's really not true, because so many doctors actually afterwards, when it was too late, found out what was going on, and it turns out after all of this was over, I find out I have something called PSC.
Okay.
Which is a very 1 in a million case, actually.
Wow.
Which is a damaged liver duct that produces bile.
Was that diagnosed in Bahrain?
That was diagnosed last second in Turkey, when they just said, okay, you've got the last stage of cirrhosis, you're entering failure now. They just said inconclusive. They didn't, at that point I was dying. Really, I was. It's not a fragment of speech, I was actually dying. So they then said, your liver failed.
So what does that feel like, to be told that you're dying?
You experience this sort of numbness. For me, what happened was I started panicking, thinking, have I achieved enough?
Okay.
Because I kind of came to terms with it. There was nothing I could do. I didn't have the donor at that time. And if you remember, this whole thing happened when it was really, really the end. And so we thought, when I was in the BDF and my heart did stop at some point. When I was internally bleeding, and the whole appeal came out to all of Bahrain that I needed blood urgently.
I remember that,
That was supposed to be the last day of my life.
Wow.
I bounced back from that, and I couldn't have done it without the support. The blood donations and just the moral support. I could not have done it.
And that was here in Bahrain?
That was here in Bahrain. That kept me going, and I got diagnosed with infectious mononucleosis.
Wow.
Which now I realize, Jason, that was actually protecting me from being out in the open during Corona.
Wow, yeah.
Because I was isolated in hospital, and I had been there for 1 month. Meanwhile, in the background, the donor was getting some sort of spiritual message or some sort of force to just show up.
Wow.
So all this stuff happened, and I was thinking, that's it, I'm going, but deep down, I kind of felt this is not over.
Yeah.
So that's why the numbness, when they said that to me.
Yeah.
I kind of accepted it, but something inside me was saying this is not over, which then became the driving force for me to stand up so fast.
Yeah. So what was the process of, so you were hospitalized in Bahrain and you almost lost your life and you ended up in a hospital in Turkey getting a donor. So how did that happen?
Well, my mother, my father, my family were reaching out until a family friend stepped up and said, I'm gonna do this. He's the same blood type as me and he's awesome. And God bless him. Honestly, he's an angel.
Yeah.
He showed up last second, but we made it all work. There was a lot of paperwork. He got his tests and I got my tests, and we were a perfect match. Not just in blood work, but the size. Wow. They didn't have to cut much. We belonged like for each other. He was here to save my life, I guess.
Wow. Yeah.
I can't even explain. This process was beyond something here. My intuition has changed. My way of thinking has changed.
Yeah.
And the process was, I don't even know on what level you mean by process, because there were so many different kinds of processes.
Yes.
There was the logistical, there was the emotional, there was the physical process, there was a lot of anxiety behind it, so a lot of panic on so many levels as well, physical and non-physical. There was chemical panic. My body was producing, adrenaline constantly, anxiety constantly, because obviously sirens are going off in my body saying you're dying, hello, it's with you every day. So the process of disconnecting myself from that panic is still going on. I would randomly feel really anxious, and then I realized my brain is still firing old neurons. So don't actually panic. This is you have to know this is a chemistry thing.
Interesting.
Or if this is an emotional thing. Because then you go, oh, wait a second, my hormones are new, so this could also be. It's a lot of working out.
Sure.
But it's beautiful to watch, Jason. It's watching. I'm putting myself outside me and I'm watching my growth myself, and I'm going, good job, and I'm like happy, It's just a second chance. It's beautiful.
It must be going through such a process and such an experience. It must, from what you say and how when I listen to you, you've obviously, I don't know, the way you understand yourself and your body and your mind, even your sight, the way you think, and the way you listen to yourself and know that actually, no, I shouldn't panic now. I think an experience like this, it sort of gets you to know yourself in a completely different way, right?
Yeah, because you see yourself in your primal state. You see what you're willing to fight for and what you're gonna run away from. I understood I faced my biggest fears. And I became more grateful for things that I probably took for granted. I've made amends with people that I probably, fought with or had a little, tension with. I've gone back and said this wasn't worth it. All untied ends. Tied. All open books closed.
Yes.
It's a second chance, and I always say to people, a second chance is another opportunity to do something different. So if you've tried it that way, try it a different way. I'm not experimenting with this life, but I'm just checking all the what ifs.
It's a very good, interesting. It's a good way of putting it.
So I don't have to live and say, what if I? Well, you know what? Try. As long as you don't endanger yourself or anyone else. Now it's more of a YOLO. YOLO time.
Okay. So after all this, I mean, of course, it's still going on. You're still recovering. You're looking amazing.
Thank you.
I think we saw you, a couple of years ago or 18 months ago, and you look like a different person then.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That really means a lot to me.
It does, yeah.
I mean, I try to see what you guys see, and I'm seeing it, but I can imagine, I really try to see how it would have been on the other side if I had a close person to me facing it. So I feel for my friends and my family as well. It must have been difficult for them to watch someone that is so close to them almost wither away. That must be tough for them. So this process was me not just understanding myself, but understanding other people. I learned their characters under a stressful situation too.
Of course.
So now I understand some can't cope as much, and some are very capable of coping. Sometimes the ones you'd least expect rise up to the occasion, and vice versa. You get shocked, you get upset, you get happy, you get pleasantly surprised, you get unpleasantly surprised. So it's a big shock. It's like a carnival of emotions and situations happening. Every day is a different party. I don't know what we're partying about, but okay.
You've always struck me since I've known you as a very, I say a spiritual person because we are all spiritual beings.
Yes.
But some of us and some people express that more clearly and more succinctly than others.
Yes.
So, how did your sense of spirituality, let's say, help you, or did it help you through this process? And did it change anything in your beliefs or understanding of who you are and in your place in this world? If that makes any sense, it's a big question.
Oh, it's a huge question, but there's a very simple answer.
Okay.
I felt slowly that my stars and my medium started becoming more clear for me. My path and my motives and my chessboard was very clear as to what I should be doing next, how I should internally absorb this, and how can I use this to my advantage, and how can I use this to help. I became so spiritual in the sense that I have a purpose here now to spread this message, to spread hope, to spread freedom, love, support. Support for me is a big thing. But understanding myself in the world and my purpose within this world, and if you get it to the spiritual side of things, I feel that I'm hovering on almost a different platform away from the basics. So more on a very spiritual, higher spiritual level, on a frequency that is beyond this plane. So a bigger message, that I see a person as a message. What is your message? I see things for not just even their character would make more sense, knowing what they would, how they resonate. What makes them click. My intuition has become very strong. And I've become very close to God and the universe, and it's almost like you know things without
knowing.
It's kind of strange. You just get this tickle, like I've got this gut feeling. And so far I've been pretty close to it, because I think I've come very close to my true self. I mean, Carl Jung said something that I found amazing. He said that living a life is a process of remembering. That in our past life, I don't know if anyone believes this, but it's interesting to me.
It is.
That we've already been born into this world and our spirit knows everything, and us actually living is just remembering stuff we already know. So if that's the case, then I feel like I'm tapping into remembering very quickly quicker now. That's how it feels. But I'm not sure. It's not, this belief system is not for everyone, of course. I'm Muslim, and God is important, and all of that, but I also believe that there is a spiritual, a higher energy that we're all connected to. I can feel you. I can literally sense your sadness or your happiness or your anger. I would just feel it. You don't have to say anything to me. It's just, I'm really sensitive to energy now.
It's funny you mentioned Carl Jung, because when I was in my 20s, I read a book of his called The Spirit in Man, Art and Literature. It's a really difficult book to read. It's like so full of words that I don't understand.
Wow.
But what I picked up from it was amazing, because he talked about artists. And he said that artists, the most successful artists, and it doesn't mean about money, but it means are the ones that don't tell a message or give a message, but the ones that understand the society they're in and ask the same questions. And so, if you think of bands like U2, now U2 at some point were the biggest band in the world. At that point, I remember their albums Europa and Achtung Baby. What I loved about those albums is that they were basically taking all these strands of societal questions and putting them really creatively and wonderfully into songs. And I think that's one of the reasons why they became so big, because they literally were the voice of the world, if you like.
Wow,
And so I love Carl Jung's perspectives.
Yes, I really do. Socrates said something very, very similar to Carl Jung about remembering, and but what you said about messages and not having to say it, I really am. I'm with that. I'm really with that. As I said earlier, it's not just all about the word. Actually, on the contrary, I feel like words kind of dumb down a situation.
It can, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just no word for it. And you end up dampening it kind of insults it.
You're right, because as an instrumentalist, the hardest part for me was always like, what do I call this piece of music? And finding the words to explain what a piece of music is about was always the most difficult thing.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's so much to say about just the song.
And then sometimes you put a title and you think, oh no, it's too small.
It's too large. The titles, for me, titles is just to specify what mood I'm going for. So if I call it like, let's say, birds, I could talk about freedom and flying and something like that. So I'd get the ambiance first.
Yeah.
And then just the song kind of, I almost want to untitle all my songs. Just untitle. You guys titled it. Whatever it is to you. I could call it anything, honestly.
I know.
Track number 1.
But I did that once. So I had this new piece. Once I'd written a new piece and I was on concert tour. And I played it at the end and I said to everybody, I have no idea what this is called. And, you know, just tell me what you think it is. And I've got some some really weird answers, which I didn't use. But it was a really interesting process to understand what the audience felt it was about. And that was, and in the end, I used one title that one person in Estonia gave me, and I used it because it was perfect.
Wow, what was that title?
It was called Falling Upwards.
Falling Upwards?
Yeah.
That's how I feel on a daily basis. That sums up my life. That's so good.
Yeah.
I need this track.
Yeah.
There you go. You just sold it to me.
Yeah, use it.
Yeah, done. That's awesome. That's really cool.
So, May, you know, you've been through this process. You've been through an extraordinary process in the last few months. Summer's coming, and you know, I imagine that when you go through such an experience. You know, the Latin tabula rasa, this empty canvas. So you've got a fresh start. So, what's on the cards? You know, what are you going to do?
Dropping an album.
Okay.
I think it's going to be probably my last album before I completely go into the management side of music. Okay. I will still be doing music, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I would be heavily more influenced into the management side, being an agent and a producer to these people. This is something that makes me so happy if I could share my knowledge.
Yeah.
I feel like that competitive part of the market needs to just calm down.
Oh, totally.
And we need to start, you know, collaborating and joining hands instead of, I can do a better job.
I know.
I really don't like this competitive.
So unhelpful.
The egotistical, and you know, I'm here to just calm down this mad, you know, the fanatics that just want to eat each other alive. It's not okay. You know, you should collaborate and just take it as, okay, you can compete, it's healthy. Me and my colleagues and when we work in the studio, we do treat it like a fun competition, but that's only because the next person will just rise up to the occasion and step it up, and then we all end up sounding better.
That's right.
That's different.
Yeah.
But that album, I'm starting to do a new project with a bunch of different artists. Each season it's going to be a different rotation of artists.
Okay.
And a production coming out with it. So that's in the making. Can't say too much about it yet, but it's in the making. We're launching soon.
That's great.
I've got a bunch of local talents to work with. There are so many. This Bahrain is so rich.
Yeah.
I would say we are richer than the States.
Yeah.
I would say that with my hand on my heart.
Yeah.
Not money-wise, and there's a difference between wealth and there's a difference between being rich.
That's right.
So, I mean, when you say, are you wealthy? Or healthy, you have to think of all the departments that go in with it, not just the money.
Yeah.
So I'm more interested working with people that think about the money last.
Yeah.
It's on everyone's mind. Of course, we have to pay bills, but that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
And just spreading this message as well. I'm using music and my story to spread a message of hope, a message of love and unity.
That's a great message for artists at this time. Well, everybody, but artists in particular who are struggling because they can't do their thing, you know, performers.
Absolutely.
So that's a great message because it's given me COVID's given me it's been difficult sometimes, but it's given me a space to actually look at other things.
Absolutely.
You know?
That is so important, to take that step back.
Yeah.
And we got pretty blessed because we got that step given to us.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are resisting this change.
Yeah, I know.
But change is the only thing constant. If you resist it, you are going against the entire motion of life.
That's right.
So if you can't beat them, join them. The train isn't gonna stop. So jump on and just brace.
Yeah.
Or stay left behind.
Yeah.
It's up to you. That's the choice that you ultimately have to make every day when you wake up. Am I jumping on the train?
Yeah.
Or am I going to get left behind? Because no one waits for you.
That's right.
So we might as well go through it together.
Yes.
It's going to be a bumpy road. Let's have a party on the way.
Mm.
You know, and we'll see what happens on the other side, basically.
Yeah. So,
I understand, sorry, Jason, but there's a really important point. I see this every day. I see the discouragement and I see the hesitation to get into this field because of the boundaries.
Yeah.
Social, cultural, religious, mentality, resources.
Sure.
You know, all limited.
Yeah.
However, I'm standing here as a Bahraini female, English singing and speaking, R&B, soul, hip hop, and other genres as well, artist that was always, you know, at the beginning said, told, that's way out of your league. You're never going to be a professional musician.
Yeah.
The hate started being a female, Muslim, Arab. That started, you know, the rumors and the doors shut and the negativity towards my art and my craft. And it's not a real job. That one really, oh dear Jason. That is like the ultimate showstopper for me. You what now? Excuse me?
I know.
It's an easy job. Wow, you have the audacity. But I still managed to do it, and I'm still standing here after a transplant, still doing it and saying you can if I can.
Yes.
That is my message. That's it. I'm not saying I can do it because I'm better than anyone or that I'm capable of more capable. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's just that you gotta have the yalla, let's just do it mentality.
Yeah, you're right.
Yalla.
I remember my dad was still telling me in my 30s, when am I going to get my hair cut and get a proper job? But finally, you know, my dad came round and now he's fully supportive and loves what I do.
For me, Baba, if you're watching this, for me, it was a very difficult story with my dad.
Okay.
He found out that I was actually doing well and successful when he was flying one day. He was a pilot, ex-pilot now.
Yep.
And a stewardess came up to him with the In-Flight magazine, and I had an interview in it.
Okay.
And, sir, Captain, is this your daughter? And he opened it in a full-page spread.
Amazing.
And then he comes home, and not just that, but he sees a check on the table, and I asked him if he could cash my check.
Yeah.
He saw the amount, and he was like, what is this for? I said, work. And he goes, what? I said, I had a gig. And this was when I was living in Abu Dhabi, and he just looked at the check, looked at me and said, I'm so proud of you. And I went, because of the money?
Yeah.
Ha! Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
But I saw his point. I managed to do what I loved and still get paid for it.
Yes.
That was the bonus though, you see?
Yeah.
It was the cherry on top for me, the money.
Yeah.
So I don't want to discourage anyone. Maybe money won't come, but you will be happy.
That's right.
You know?
I'm also bringing joy to others.
Of course, that's the best part of it.
That's right. Yeah.
Spreading that love and happiness, seeing the smiles on people's faces. Just basically, music is what music preaches what the ideal world should be.
Yeah, you're right.
It puts down some real proper ideologies. Because if you think about it, even outside the song, the person creating it is collaborating.
Yep.
Is spreading love.
Yep.
Is also spiritually developing, therefore putting his sense and his essence into his music.
Yeah.
He's already in that process of spreading something.
Yeah.
Something good, not hate, not war, not racism and all these isms that we need to get rid of in society. Music kind of does that.
It does.
It's like, I always say nature equals nurture. The same way Mother Nature is acting, just watch what's happening around you.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book actually called Nature Equals Nurture.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, equals. It's the same. The way we learned how to fly planes is by watching the birds take off.
Yeah.
Mother Nature is, in a sense, telling us, you guys are really messing up.
Yeah.
COVID is here to, like, you know, organize our thoughts. We got carried away for a second. Mother Nature said, whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
Everyone, just take a step back.
Yeah.
I will make you feel really ill for some time, but you will rise up.
Yeah.
Because after every storm, there is a rainbow somewhere.
Yeah.
We just need to hold on. Amazing. And this panic is unnecessary because the thing that everyone fails to realize is we are not alone. This is a huge thing for all of us. It really helps when I feel I'm not alone. And during this, it was COVID and the transplant for me. I was separated in two ways.
Yes.
And disconnected from myself at the same time. It was the worst and best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah.
Although at the time, believe me, Jason, it was the hardest thing I have ever had to do, but it was the most beautiful and painful experience that I had to go through.
Yes.
To get out to this other side and actually see things for what they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes taking things at face value is really it. It's right in front of you.
Yeah.
I know I'm babbling, but there's so much behind this.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, Jason, really it is. Have you ever had a sort of experience like this that's kind of changed you completely, or just like your awakening, basically? It doesn't have to be tragic or medical, but...
Yeah, I mean, when I was 18, I had glandular fever, so I was in bed for like about 7 weeks, and then sick for like 2 or 3 months. And that time, I mean, even though I didn't, as an 18-year-old, I didn't need such a huge awakening in terms of, I mean, I wasn't an adult. Yeah. However, I do remember the good it did me, because I was actually I was burning a candle at both ends. That's where I got it. So I was gigging in the evenings every night.
Oh wow.
And I was working from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. in a factory. And in the end, my body just couldn't take it anymore. And I just fell apart basically. And that time was really, I sort of got put back together, you know.
Yeah.
And I really had to really think about my priorities. And basically, I went back to my factory job and realised I can't do it anymore. And even though the money I was earning from gigs was so small, I can't do it. And my boss said to me in the factory, he said, Jason, you got to make a choice. And I said, okay, I'm leaving. And
Wow.
I left.
Yeah, I've done that many times. I think you've seen a few of those.
Yeah, we have seen that.
Outbreaks at work. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I actually got diagnosed with glandular fever when I was working with you guys at Inspire.
I remember.
I got it twice.
Yeah, I remember.
Who gets it twice? I feel like if I could define myself, I would say I'm recycled. Recycled thoughts, recycled emotions, recycled and amped. So it's like version 2.0, version 3.0.
Yeah.
My friends
Upgrade.
My friends keep calling me the Phoenix because I really did burn to the ashes and rise up. It felt that way for me. Again, in all departments, I just feel like the same person and just with more power, more to give, more to say.
Yes.
So each time I came back, it was funny because I was born and my heartbeat I didn't have a heartbeat. I was choking.
Oh, wow.
Made it again. Broke my back. So many injuries for me.
Gosh.
That's a reoccurring theme for me.
Broke your back?
Broke my back. Lydia remembers. I broke my tailbone in a very odd place. Also another rare case. Everything was rare for me. I'm just an anomaly.
Yeah.
I just feel like one of those anomalies, but that anomaly changes the whole system. I realized I'm not a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm actually supposed to be there to kind of shift something and move it around because I'm that odd one out. I'm the black sheep. So, okay, instead of trying to be like the white sheep, be that black sheep. Rock that black sheep.
Yeah, that's right.
Seriously, just be the different one because the different one is happy. So follow her, actually.
Yeah.
You know, the one that everyone was like, oh, now it's starting to look a little more fun.
Yeah.
Because the grass is greener. It's tastier as well. It's really fun over here. Come.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jason, awesome.
Is there anything else you want to say before we close down the show?
I just wanted to say thank you for speaking to me about this. Actually, you're the first one to reach out to talk to me properly about this stuff.
Okay.
And I just wanted to, of course, I'm never going to stop saying this. I know that everyone thinks that I did this on my own and I fought and everything, but honestly, with hand on my heart, I couldn't have done it without the support, without the prayers, blessings, even just the mere thought of me in good health, just that. I'm so thankful. And this is my turn to give back now. So everything that I'm doing now is more of a way to say that I'm grateful for the universe, to God, to my friends, my family, everything tangible, intangible, even the air I breathe, I'm thankful for. That's really what I want to say, and never lose hope.
Yes.
No matter what, it's never impossible. Even when you get to the top, there's still something on top of that. You will never stop. There's a top to a top.
That's right.
So just keep going until you're done your purpose in life and you go up to heaven and then experience the top of the top there. So I mean, it's a constant thing, and it's never too late.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's never a no unless you'll know when it's no.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's inshallah.
Inshallah. How can people follow you with your activities? Your Instagram?
Instagram, yes, May Alqasim official.
Yep.
I'm also on Reverb Nation, TikTok, Snapchat, all over social media.
Okay.
May Alqasim, it will turn up.
Okay.
If you want to follow.
That's ALQ.
ALQ, 1 Q and 1 S, guys.
1 S.
1 S. I get really frustrated with the double S thing. Are you a double S'er?
I was about to think, I would have been a double S'er. Very sorry.
Can't really kick you out of your own car, can I?
I'm driving.
Yeah.
Been great to have you, May. Thank you so much for coming in the car.
Thank you so much, guys. Stay tuned. We've got a lot in store, and thank you, Jason, for having me. It's really been a pleasure.
Welcome. Comment, like, share May's story. It's very positive and very encouraging. So, thanks again, May.
Thank you so much. Pound it again. Yeah.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.